So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You're watching our awesome 10x channel. This is a YouTube live show every day for global market updates. My name is Nikki, you also known as Faces Trader. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm also available on Spotify and YouTube. So, I just wanted to share that last night it was quite confounding to see so many all-time highs, given that it looks like we are overextended, but the market is the king, right? So the market is the real king. No matter if there was actually cases of spike in coronavirus in Beijing, in US, and Brazil, looks like the market is ignoring all of that, and we are seeing continuous higher highs and all-time highs. Let me show to you that just today, Tencent actually broke into all-time high zone. Tencent, of course, is the owner of Supercell Games. So we saw that there's news that Supercell's Brawl Stars is actually making $17 million in a week of revenues. Let me show to you the news on that. Wait up, let me read that. I shared it as well in my shared it here. Let's read it. Profile. So my Twitter handle is at Faces Trader. Brawl Stars all-time highs. So let's read the news together for you. There's a lot of all-time highs in the market. Like I think I saw hundreds of all-time highs. So it looks like this market, no matter how overextended, is still tilted to the upside, um, which is still gonna make the most of the opportunities. So Tencent lands another mobile game hit as Brawl Stars rakes in $17.5 million in the first week. Mobile games in China generated $18.5 billion in revenue last year, and the market is projected to reach $32 billion by 2024. Tencent and NetEase together account for 60% of the total gaming market revenue in China, according to a report by intelligence firm Analysis. So Brawl Stars is, of course, a mobile game of Tencent through Supercell. They've got 5 million downloads in the first week in China. The top grossing titles such as Clash of Clans, Clash Royale, Supercell, in which Tencent owns a majority stake, has established itself as a hit maker of mobile games. Brawl Stars' strong start in China compares favorably to the global launch in 2018 when it grossed $11 million with 15.5 million downloads in the first week. The Brawl Stars is, of course, making people believe that it could hit similar revenues for Clash of Clans. Now, the latest success reflects the fact that although games are now being released much later in China due to the country's tightening control over gaming, market remains hugely lucrative, especially for Tencent and NetEase, together accounting for 60% of the total market revenue, according to a report by intelligence firm Analysis. Published jointly by Tencent and Yuzu, Brawl Stars didn't receive a license for monetization from China's government until only March. Unlike most countries, game publishers in China must obtain a monetization license from the government, which leads to months of delay in releasing a new title. Brawl Stars generated more revenues during its first 7 days in China than the last Supercell hit to be released there, Clash Royale, which grossed about $10 million in its launch week. ByteDance is brushing, okay, not that. Brawl Stars is the most downloaded game right now on Apple iOS in China since launching on June 9. According to App Annie, it's ranked within the top 4 on the top grossing chart for games in China over the same period. Tencent didn't immediately respond. Guotai Junan said Brawl Stars had many winning elements, enabling it to become a sensational hit. Theme of the game is easily understood, appears to be very diverse. With distribution channel of Tencent and gradual monetization mechanism, the game can potentially reach gamers of all ages. Mobile games in China generated 18.5 billion. Number of game players in China is estimated to be 637 million players. Tencent gaming revenue reached a record high of about $16.2 billion, making it the world's largest gaming company by revenue. Business is bolstered by China's stay-at-home, 2 highest grossing games in China, PUBG Mobile, Honor of Kings are Tencent titles. Revenue from PUBG Mobile grew to about 225 million, 226 million, including earnings from patriotic local version called Peacekeeper Elite in just a single month. So Tencent became major shareholder in Supercell by 2016, now owns 81% of the company. Tencent said Supercell's success is a very important factor in the overall growth of Tencent's gaming business. Besides Supercell, Tencent also owns Riot Games, Epic Games, Blue Mobile, Activision Blizzard, as well as South Korean firm CJ Games and Japanese company Aiming and Marvelous. This news actually is gonna lead for a lot of mobile games to actually become, or not mobile games, but the gaming related names to go stronger and stronger. Let's show to you a few investing names in the mobile space. No, there's a lot really. So video games nerds, geeks are making a lot of money in this space, continuously all-time highs. Expect that all the rest will continue following higher. Of course, Tencent has already rose nearing from about 260 since March to about 420. Still gonna go continuously higher given the strength of the mobile games distribution. Now, NetEase distributes League of Legends in China. First, let's see what's translating inside the entire gaming space. I have a portfolio here that's concentrated on gaming. Let's show that to you. Video game nerd. So despite Huya dropping 3%, we still continue to see this live streaming game platform to go higher. C Limited up 6%, all-time high, 64,000, 6% up for Africa TV. That would be the Korean Twitch. Also, I think last night, Microsoft reported that they are bowing out of the game on platforms. Mixer is going to be closed down, and they're transitioning the users to go to Facebook Gaming. Africa TV here, Korea's Twitch goes breakout. No problem on Huya and Douyu. Any drops on Huya near 18 to 19 should be taken advantage of. We see a reversal move here back to about 21 to 25. Douyu, take a look at the live streaming esports platforms. We made a buy reco here at about $8, $7.70, back again at $8.50. We continue to see this going all-time highs. For esports, there's a lot of ways to play this. Esports entertainment, this is a backdoor play, gamble. So I think the IPO was about $4. So you can see 4 to 980 in just about 2 days. So naturally, there was a huge profit taking. Tried to re-enter here at about 550. These drops at about 650 should be re-entered and bought more as we see gamble going higher. Executives are decent. No earnings yet for this company. They're still starting. Gamble is ticker GMBL, VIE.GG. It allows you to actually bet on League of Legends, esports essentially. This is an esport related theme. Now, esports tournaments have been starting already in Southeast Asia sponsored by Razer. You could see that Razer keeps on going higher. If there's a pullback, you want to be entering even at 135. Those who continue to hold this, just hold. We see this breaking above that 150 and 160 anytime soon. Continue holding. Now with so let's just go one by one with games. It's impossible for games to break out without your Nvidia and AMD. That's an all-time high for Nvidia. Let me see. AMD hasn't broken out to the all-time high, but I still prefer an Nvidia if it's gaming. Okay, so CD Projekt, this would be all-time highs. Nvidia all-time highs. Your game apparel, Logitech also all-time highs. Bandai Namco, let's see. Let me take a look on Bandai Namco. The trend in your games is a secular trend, so there's no problem. Okay, good entry. Bandai gives you an entry here. Bandai Namco's games are Dragon Ball Z. And the games I like for Bandai Namco is the Elden Ring. And I like the toy segment they have. Last year, they produced video games that are really selling well for the children. A little bit of a virtual. So of course, you can check all the Bandai Namco video games, things that you love from the beginning. Pac-Man, Dark Souls, lala. The recent ones, I think Elden Ring should do well. Of course, you've got 2020 releases. A lot of new games are coming out there, so you have to be wait. Fast and the Furious to be released on August 7. RPG titles. Let's read. Let me read to you. Those who like video games, continue to buy this one. You've got an entry point here at about 5.9 tonight. Today, this is in Japan. Ticker symbol 7832. As you could see, streaming platforms are doing well worldwide. YY, who owns a majority stake in your Huya, is still strong after breaking out from a 67 area. Also owns the Nemo TV. Also owns Huya owns Nemo TV. YY owns Huya. So you can actually see that Joy Inc. ticker symbol YY has a huge stake in a lot of your esports plays. Also owns Bigo Live, which is very strong in Russia. Let's read this for you. For this year, RPG titles of Bandai Namco, Full Armor and Mobile Suit Gundam Extreme. Japanese game publisher Bandai Namco showed off 7 action and role-playing titles as it expects to debut in 2020. They range from Bless Unleashed, massive MMORPG debuting in 2019, to Captain Tsubasa, Rise of New Champions, where players have superhero powers. So let's read to you the game. So Bless Unleashed is the first free-to-play, massively MMORPG from Bandai Namco. The game is in beta testing on the Xbox One, built with hardcore MMO fans in mind. Unreal Engine 4 game has a persistent world, Lumios, where gods exist. Mythical beasts are a constant threat. You play as an adventurer. You can design your character. Just look about anyone you want. I was telling my group that if Supercell is doing so well, Tencent should actually go higher. Let's take a look at how high Tencent could go higher. So you've seen that this is a clear breakout. 480 are usually, in my view, those all-time highs go straight up, especially with the news on Brawl Stars. You could see that the resistance might be seen, since it's an all-time high, first resistance usually goes about 20% higher, at about 560 to 580. So any drops for your Tencent will be accumulated and bought more by people who have been waiting for a correction that never really came. Now, given the all-time highs of the market, you should be acquainted that Spotify, with strong buying signals here, will continue going higher. Extension after extension, we might see an extension move. By calculating the extension move from about 180 to 240, an extension move can go all the way to about $280. Netflix also got an all-time high yesterday, with your small cap names rising very strongly. It remains to see that you could see that this upward channel, this could either go berserk, given that there was news that Netflix in India is doing so well. Let me read to you the news. Amount of pricing power in India. So I like Akatsuki. Let's read this too. Akatsuki is a Japanese video game publisher that's very small. They partner with a lot of giants so that the games could do well. So there's a lot of resistance in 6.8. The problem when you're investing in small companies is that very few people are actually aware of them. So from a risk perspective, these would be slower than, of course, your Tencent, your Bandai Namco. Those are powerful companies already. But if you want like some small gaming studios, consider this one. Akatsuki at 4,000 gives you about 50% upside. Akatsuki is the partner of Bandai Namco in Dragon Ball Z. And then Akatsuki is also coming out with a game with Netflix. Let me read to you that news as well. Akatsuki, Netflix. Japan's Akatsuki looks to tie up with Netflix and Amazon. Let's read this for you. Netflix has surprising amount of pricing power in India. Netflix has struggled to make significant headway in India, one of the most promising markets. They're just costing about $2.80 a month. That is significantly lower because Netflix has about $10 per monthly plan in Asia Pacific region. Netflix saw its average revenue per user fall 3% on a forex neutral basis in Asia Pacific region. So some analysts believe that 90% of Indians would still actually be able to pay more for the subscription, and Netflix have room to raise prices in India. In terms of pricing pressure, pricing ability to go higher, I still believe that Netflix has room to grow. So with Netflix giving you room to grow to for the ARPU, the average revenue per user can grow. Take a look that Netflix could go all-time highs further. This could go parabolic. After 450 plus $90, it could go about 540. So in case the market keeps going all-time highs, people who continued buying will still have a lot of upside for these large cap names. Netflix, Spotify, of course, you've seen small caps go higher, like C Limited is going higher. With C Limited going higher, that's probably due to strong numbers on Free Fire. But this is already like 100%, 300% from the 26 level of March and April. So C Limited and Fastly are going super high. I would say that take a look in Akamai, AKAM. Akamai is actually the one powering up content mobile delivery for your Apple, also does for Netflix and for Fortnite. So these big giants are actually worth cheaper, even if they have more better fundamentals rather than the smaller names. Tencent, of course, is a bigger company rather than C Limited. Akamai is bigger than Fastly. So you've got these big caps joining the market rallying. You see Microsoft going all-time highs. You've seen actually so many all-time highs last night that it actually prevents you to think that the market is actually ignoring all of the COVID virus spikes. And price action is king. You cannot negate that. As long as the price action is saying that it's going to go higher, you have to believe that the secular trends are being priced higher right now. So this is like buy.gg, the owner is Gamble. So you can actually play bets for BTS, Clutch Island, Beyond Epic. So these are like the match bets. These are all esport games. So that is a start of a trend. Take a look at those names. The ones powering up a lot of your sports betting is GAN Limited. We published a buy at about 17, 18. Any drops would be limited, I believe, to about 21 or 20. So any drops you want to consider buying, because this can go resistance move at about 33. So GAN Limited is a play on legalized sports betting and legalized gambling online. So this is actually going to help you secular trend-wise. Now, with esports doing so well, you can either everyone was trying to assume that $50 is topish, me included, because of extensions and extensions, and then it's not. Of course, it's not moving down. So I would say that the bulls are still in charge. You don't want to be negating the price action. If price is telling you going higher, you have to continue with your trades on the higher move. Let's read this. Japan's Netflix, Akatsuki looks to tie up with Netflix and Amazon for Indian animation. Akatsuki will initially dub Japanese originals into Indian languages, which will be available by the end of this year. In another 2 to 3 years, company wants to look at developing Indian originals with local writers and talent. So as you could see, right now in Netflix, they're becoming very international. So the play in Netflix right now isn't about the connected TV in US, but it's really a connected TV globally, especially in India and India. So Japanese entertainment company Akatsuki announced its foray into India late last year, looking to tie up with a host of video streaming players and cable TV for Indian audiences. Starting with Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, Disney, Hotstar, and YouTube. The company best known for mobile games such as Dragon Ball Z, and Bringing Up My Girl, and franchises such as Japan Sings 2020 and Kumarba, said they will initially dub Japanese originals. Apart from English and Hindi, we're looking at dubbing them into other top Indian languages. I would say, because I like small caps, I would go for this Akatsuki. You either go for Akatsuki, Bandai Namco, these are value plays. Chegg is going all-time highs. I would say that Pluralsight, an online education company for technology, should be bought. So at 18, should go back to about 20. Any drops should be limited at about 14 to 15. Similarly, with the work from home, all of the work from home SaaS names are going higher. It stands to reason out that Slack cannot be too low. So Slack, I think, broke out yesterday at 34, but I still continue to think that this will go higher and higher. We got in at about 30 when it dropped, 30, 31, 32. This is, I think, going to go back to about 38 to 40. So, I mean, I hope that you like the picks of ours. Study this. I cover names in depth in our Awesome 10X class. Those who want to understand our picks, we generally, of course, are choosing value names. Picks are doing well, like everything else in the market. But I would love you to know the company like Akatsuki. Akatsuki, I'll cover Akatsuki, Akamai. These are some names that I believe in. And I think that the partnership with Netflix and Amazon Prime Video would actually be a boost for the Japanese name. Okay, see you again tomorrow. Please subscribe to our channel and click the bell for notifications to not miss any of our ideas every single day. Bye-bye.